I dreaming? Well, of an aspect bright and fair. And my sleeping, it was broken, but my dream, it lingered near. In the farm of shining valleys, where the pure air rarefied, and my senses are newly opened, I will waken into the cry that the people have the power to redeem the work of fools.
A warm good evening to all. As we are celebrating the Earth Overshoot Day today, July 29th, here we are for a session by CEE, Center for Environmental Efficiency, officially began in 2013, which was dedicated to the rightful environmental management by Dr. May Matthew. Center for Environmental Efficiency is a public trust constituted to propagate the theories of environmental efficiency and carrying capacity, which are the two strong indicators for the rightful environmental management from global level to local level. I had a great opportunity to work with Dr. May Matthew ma'am as an urban planner intern suggested by my faculty architect Bindu CA. I would like to say that it was really valuable and informative experience to work with her to enrich my knowledge. How to make environment and development hand in hand by taking the confidence of the society is a looming problem of the 21st century. So actually it was a greatly inspired by her ma'am's initiatives and efforts with a strong determination to solve this problem. Today we are here for the Earth Overshoot Day. Earth Overshoot Day 2021 lands on July 29, says the councillor Susan Atkin, the leader of Glasgow City Council. With almost half a year remaining, and we will already have used up to a quarter of Earth's biological resources for 2021 by July 29th. If we need reminding that we are in the grip of a climate and ecological emergency, Earth Overshoot Day is it, she said. Each year, Earth Overshoot Day marks the date when humanity has used all the biological resources that Earth regenerates during the entire year. Humanity currently uses 74% more than what the planet's ecosystem can regenerate, or its 1.7 Earths. From the Earth Overshoot Day until the end of the year, humanity operates an ecological deficit spending. This spending is currently some of the largest since the world entered in the ecological overshoot in the early 1970s. So it is indeed, world is overshooting and Earth is suffering. So in the present scenario, we need to make decisions that will deliver our planet on a safer and more sustainable future. Indeed, human development is ultimate aim for all. Today, I'm so happy to announce that CEE has introduced a new program session, KSS program, Knowledge Sharing Session, KSS. This talk will be the first of its series. I welcome you all to this event, and the next session onwards, CEE intends to arrange presentations which are mainly related to environmental efficiency and other theories by researchers, academicians, and experts. And we will be giving lectures related to the environmental efficiency, which deals with several topics like health, education, income, energy, footprint, etc. That will be explained by the speaker, Dr. May Matthew ma'am. Now we are moving on to the official inauguration of the KSS program. I would like to invite Dr. Maithili ma'am, MA, MPhil, PhD, who was the erstwhile HOD of Economics Department, Vimala College, Thrissur.
Good evening to all. Dr. May Matthew and other members of Center of Environmental Efficiency. Mankind has made impressive progress from the status of hunter-gatherers to space travelers, extracting natural resources for his basic necessities, such as food, clothing, shelter. He established his supremacy later over all other species on. For the last 300 years, human activities and progress has been so tremendous that even nature was not able to cope up with. This has created imbalance in the ecosystem, leading to loss of biodiversity, global warming, climate change, and things like that. Nature has started reacting to these disturbances through droughts, floods, natural calamities, pandemics. The natural resources are not for the comfort of human beings alone, but belongs to all species on earth. Nature has bestowed enough resources for all of us to survive, but not to cater to our greed. Natural resources are fixed. The more we consume, faster it gets depleted. Even the renewable natural resources are fixed or will get depleted in the long run. But to meet our current requirements of resources, it is estimated that we require 1.6 Earths. Our requirements are overshooting the availability. This means that we are grabbing the resources meant for the future generations on this planet. Sustainable growth means we use the resources judiciously so that resources are available for future generations and we have to give it back. This calls for efficient and effective use of natural resources. Avoid unwanted usages, resort to use of renewable resources, etc. in all fields of our activities, which needs significant changes in our perceptions and practices. Best way of bringing about this change is to build up awareness about this needed change through dissemination of knowledge. Earth Overshoot Day is one way of quantifying the positions of natural resources in terms of what we are entitled and what we actually use. As a person from the field of economics, I consider this analogous to the practice of deficit budgeting. When you overshoot the budget, you have to borrow. In the case of natural resources, if we extract the resources beyond a certain limit, this may be a tragedy, not only for the future generation, for the present generation also. If we are not able to make it good, we are denying our rights, not only our rights, rights of the future. Now, I am remembered of Adam Smith's famous quotes. That is, self-interest is the guiding force behind all activities. And this self-interest, it must not degenerate into selfishness. And he mentioned later, what is required is enlightened self-interest. This enlightened self-interest, this can be inculcated only through altruism. And this altruism, it is found to be missing among the humankind nowadays. This has led to over-exploiting everything and extracting natural resources, which will become fatal in the future. In this context, I am glad that on this year's Earth Overshoot Day, Center for Environmental Efficiency is organizing a knowledge sharing session on Overshoot Earth, sustainable solutions and strategies in Indian context. I am sure that this session will throw light on this very important topic on environment. Let me congratulate Dr. May Matthew for taking the initiative to arrange this program. With the permission of all of you, let me formally inaugurate the session and offer my best wishes for the program. All the best and thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for that words. And that was really a lot. Your words actually reminded me of the sayings, Earth is not something which is inherited from our parents. It's something borrowed from our children. So that was really a very great words of you. And thank you. And now we are moving on to the session by the speaker, Dr. May Matthew, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Very good evening to all of you. I'm so happy that you all are attending the program. I will just start my session. That's my PowerPoint presentation, which I have kept ready. And I will be starting screen sharing now. Yeah, this is the knowledge sharing session 1 of CEE. And the topic is Overshooting Earth, Solutions and Strategies in the Indian Context. As Sandra Rose has already mentioned, this is only an inaugural session. That means Ma'am Maithili has inaugurated it and I will be giving the first session. And next time onwards, I will be inviting eminent and academicians and experts from the field who are whose expertise is related to environmental efficiency theory. And I will be just conducting this session and I will be giving my talk how this is connected to environmental efficiency theory. It's a huge umbrella. That is, environmental efficiency theory is a huge umbrella so that it is a multidisciplinary platform. It contains engineering, architecture, economics, urban planning, agriculture, productivity. All those things are included in, all those positive things are included in this environmental efficiency theory. So I'm just giving my first presentation. As most of you know that I have formulated this trust. That is, in fact, we have formulated this trust based on the findings of my thesis report, Environmentally Efficient Development Management System for Greater Kochi in Kerala State. Global level to local level, I have formulated some theories which are useful to the world and how we have to approach towards sustainability. And this EE and CC theories are formulated. Environmental efficiency and carrying capacity theories are formulated. And it has got applications from global to local and even at the individual level. Main inspiration behind this theory is it is rightly coinciding with Ubuntu theory. So that Ubuntu means find happiness through sharing and caring by responsible consumption. That is, in this case, in the case of environmental efficiency theory, this Ubuntu means this is the meaning: find happiness through sharing and caring by responsible consumption. And the hashtag we use it for this propagating these theories in the social media platform is #environment and development hand in hand. And why the Center for Environmental Efficiency has taken this topic? Because there's a research done by Center for Environmental Efficiencies after a follow-up research of what Global Footprint Network has done. Global Footprint Network has done the follow-up work of using the UN data. They have formulated the consumption and capacity calculations based on United Nations data. Actually, there is one scientist known as Dr. Mathis Wackernagel and Dr. William Rees. And William Rees is the faculty member and Mathis Wackernagel was the student. And both of them together, they have done this PhD thesis and they have formulated this footprint theory. And they have formulated, Mathis Wackernagel has formulated this global footprint network. This is a California-based environmental think tank and an NGO who are dedicatedly working towards these calculations. They are doing every year, they are doing these kind of calculations. And Earth Overshoot Day is hosted and calculated by Global Footprint Network. And what they are doing is that ecological footprint and biocapacity accounting. They are doing that national footprint accounts. That means ecological footprint and biocapacity accounting. They are doing it is being done by Global Footprint Network based on UN data. And this is just like what Maithili ma'am and Sandra Rose has mentioned. This is like just like a bank statement where we have whatever we have in the bank and whatever how much we are spending. And if we are spending too much, but that means taking loan, that means we will be overshooting. That concept is there for the ecological overshoot concept. Ecological footprint and biocapacity, again, it is a demand and versus supply. of Earth and biosphere. Demand is calculated as ecological footprint, and supply is considered as a biocapacity. And in this, very interesting thing is included in this, that is the productivity of the land is taken into consideration. A hectare of land with world average productivity is known as a global hectare. And whatever land and resources we have, based on the productivity, it is converted to global hectares. Suppose in the case of Kerala, which is synonymous for low productivity of agricultural land. Suppose this agriculture 1,000 hectares of land is there. When we are calculating, converting into global hectares, it might be sometimes 50% of the productivity, world average productivity. If it is converted as 500 hectares only. That means this productivity of the land is constituted in this calculation. That is very interesting. And these are the components, what they are. This is the footprint like figures. This sketch, this picture belongs to Global Footprint Network, and I have taken this from their website. And the bottom level is what we have, and the top level is what we are taking. That is energy we are using. We are not directly taking energy from Earth, but whatever fossil fuel consumption we are making, we will be producing carbon dioxide. So we will be requiring forest land to sequestrate that carbon dioxide. That is the calculation. That means sequestration, that means assimilation of waste. That is, energy is calculated as per the assimilation of waste capacity. That's Earth's capacity. And again, built-up land is considered in the calculations. Timber and paper, what we are using it for day-to-day life, and food and fiber, just like crop land, then pasture land, fishing land, all these things are included in the calculations. Again, one more expression, WWF Japan and Global Footprint Network joined together, and they have this picture is owned by them, and it is now available in the website. And this is just like a footprint, and these are the components: forest products, carbon footprint, that is the energy thing is the carbon footprint, then crop land, pasture land, built up land, and fisheries. All these things are the constituent components of ecological footprint and biocapacity calculations. See, these are the fishing land, fisheries, then built up land, then pasture land, then crop land, then carbon footprint, that for the forest, all these things are included. That is, origin of overshoot day concept is formulated by Andrew Sims of UK think tank New Economics Foundation. And they have also, this New Economic Foundation also partnered with the Global Footprint Network, or also WWF also partnered with them in 2007 itself. And I came to know this ecological footprint concept from the WWF. That means UN publication, and the WWF has published some items in the UN. So that I came across this ecological footprint concept in 2006 itself. And this is the figure again published by them, Earth Overshoot Day. And they have got calculations from, based on UN data, they have got calculations from 1970 to 2021. That means it is decreasing year by year. That means overshoot day is coming earlier. That means we are going in a very tragic situation. And now in the year 2020, overshoot day has increased by 22 or 23 days. That means in 2019, it was overshoot day was at the same day, July 29th. And in 2020, because of the corona pandemic, it has increased because of the lockdown. And there was a tragic, terrific reduction in fossil fuel consumption. And based on their calculations, it was postponed. It was delayed by 3 weeks, more than 3 weeks. So it was something like August 22nd. And again, in 2021, it came back. Even though the COVID situation is remaining, international travel requirements are reduced. Then also the overshoot or the global consumption has come back to came back to July 29th itself. That is because the coal consumption has increased. Many countries, because of the COVID pandemic, they have increased the coal-based consumption because in order to overcome the crisis situation in their country. Because of that, the footprint has increased. And because of the high footprint, again, it has the reverse. The date has again become earlier. That means our intention should be delay the matter. But now it is coming back. It is coming closer to that. It is coming. It's occurring earlier. Based on the present situation, we need 1.7 Earth. We have only 1 Earth. 0.7 Earth. All the consumption related overheads or footprints are going to the nature or going to the atmosphere, which is causing global warming. And if it is going like that, every year it is increasing day by day. So we have to have some solution to contain the earth. Otherwise, COVID is only a harbinger. It is also a warning that if you are not containing your consumption within the capacity, this kind of situation may occur. So COVID is a harbinger of our disaster. As somebody earlier told, that Overshoot Day marks the date when humanity's demand for ecological resources and services in a given year exceeds the can regenerate in that year. And this is regarding the press release issued by Global Footprint Network. I was going through that. What all I mentioned just now, that's like a rolling back to July 29th. Those things are included in their press release. And also because of the high coal use, this consumption has again came back to that level. And now the humanity is in a tired situation. They are weary humanity. The people are very tired because of the COVID situation, and all are eyeing on the COP26 summit, which will be taking place in Glasgow City, Scotland, because all the nations are joining together and they are just brainstorming what to do, how to attack this problem, how we can contain our resources. That means consumption within our capacity. So all those things will be discussed in COP26 summit at Glasgow, and all the nations are eyeing on that Glasgow city. That is the summit will be taking place in the first week of November. In fact, Global Overshoot Day was declared this Global Overshoot Day, July 29th, that was declared by Miss Susan Aitken, who is the leader of the Glasgow City Council. And also because of the Amazon forest deforestation and forest fires, there is globally we are calculating there is a 0.5% decrease in the global biodiversity. Forest land or deforestation is taking place. So both sides we have problem. We are overshooting, and ecological footprint is increasing one side, and also biocapacity is decreasing. So that it has got a very multiplying effect with respect to environmental efficiency, which is on the negative side, not in the positive side. Again, they have calculated country overshoot days. For each country, what are all the resources, biocapacity they have. Each country has got biocapacity, and each country's average persons, based on the consumption pattern, they have each person's ecological footprint is also there. So the country overshoots are there, and some countries like Qatar, their overshoot days as early as February 9th because of the two reasons. One is that ecological footprint is quite high because it is a developed country and rich country, so that their spendings are more. And on the other side, their resources are less, so that their resources are expended by February 9 itself. That is overshoot day 21 as per the calculations of Global Footprint Network. Again, Luxembourg, then United Arab Emirates, because all these places, Gulf countries, the resources are less. That is the reason why overshoot day is occurring very early. But in the case of countries like Canada, Australia, and all, their biocapacity is quite high, but their ecological footprint is also much, much high, so that their overshoot day is coming early, like March, April, and all. And in the case of New Zealand, United Kingdom, it is May 19th. And in the case of South Africa, it is July 4th. So like that, Brazil, it is July 27th. Brazil's consumption and capacity patterns are almost like world average level, because July 29th is the our Earth Overshoot Day, but Brazil's Overshoot Day is 27th. So Brazil is an average case. And some countries are having a very good figure, something like Indonesia. The Overshoot Day is only in December. And Ecuador, it is also nearer to that. Then some countries, Iraq, Cuba, Colombia, El Salvador, Ghana, all these places, Overshoot Day is much late, which is a positive sign. Their resources, they have got resources based on their ecological footprint. That is the meaning of that. And in the case of India, it is really interesting. This Global Footprint Network did not calculate the Earth Overshoot Day of India. That is, I calculated because there is a calculation formula. Biocapacity divided by ecological footprint into 365. So as the case of India, based on the biocapacity and ecological footprint, when I calculated, it is coming on May 1st. That means ecological footprint is very, very less as far as India is concerned. But the biocapacity is also very, very low, because 130 crore people are accommodated in India. So Earth Overshoot Day is May 1st. Even though Earth Overshoot Day is May 1st, the Global Footprint Network did not calculate Earth Overshoot Day of India, because India is a country which is worth emulation. That means India is a country with the least consumption. And it's only if all the people of the earth lives like an Indian, only 0.7 earth is required. So they don't want to they don't want to alert us with our consumption trend, but other things are there which is to be improved. So they refrain from calculating the overshoot day of India. And these are the calculation. There are some other concepts known as number of earths required expression. That means if every person in Australia, just like country, Australia lives like an Australian, we need 4.1 earth. That means Australia, the consumption pattern is quite high. That means every person in Australia is living like every person in the world is live like an Australian. We need 4.1 earth. In the case of Brazil, we need 1.7 earth. Like Brazil, again, it is coming on the average side, 1.7. World average is 1.7. And Canada, we need 4.7 earth. Central African Republic, just like India, they need only 0.7 earth as per their consumption. For India also, it is 0.7. And Georgia, it is 1.3. And Germany, 3. And India, again, 0.7. We need, if all the people in this universe, in this earth is living like an average Indian, we need only 0.7 global hectares. That means we have excess resources in the earth. That is the meaning of it. Japan, it is 2.8. And the United States of America, we need 5 earth to sustain their, that is, every person in America is living, every person in the world is living like an American. We need 5 earth. That means their consumption is very, very high. And similarly, official overshoot day is included in that. That means Australia, it is March 30. In the case of US, it is March 14. And in the case of Georgia was showing some good signs. That's why I included Georgia. It is October 8th and like that. And just like the overshooting earth, we have calculated Center for Environmental Efficiency, because in 2006 onwards, we are following the research done by Earth Overshoot Day, and that means the Global Footprint Network. And based on our understanding, we have, in order to make it understandable to the people, when you do while doing presentation, we have made a that means video showing, we have included the tone value concept. That means just like ecological footprint and biocapacity, they are in the two sides of a balance. And if the ecological footprint is becoming less, tone value is positive, it is good. And if the ecological footprint is coming on the other side, that means it is giving more weightage, then tone value is negative. So this is the tone value concept which I presented for the TED presentation, which I conducted at TED Choice School in the year 2017. Tone means what is the counterweight based on our consumption? What is the counterweight we require based on our consumption, based on our ecological footprint? What is the counterweight we have for our consumption? That is the concept, tone value. So if you're seeing the figures, it's a tone value is calculated BC by EFP minus 1. That means biocapacity divided by ecological footprint minus 1. So that if the tone value is negative, that means we can say that our country is not performing in the right direction. If tone value is positive, we should be happy. These are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals set up by the UN in the year 2015. And most of our countries are just following to achieve the targets which are mentioned in the SDGs. And these are some SDG. One is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, addressing the inequalities, sustainable cities, that is the 11. Please note that sustainable city is the goal 11. And this is responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, strong institutions, partnerships. All the 17 sustainable development goals, and I am eyeing on this sustainable goal number 11 because it is a comprehensive goal. That means we are achieving sustainable cities. All other that is SDGs we are attaining. That means we can reduce poverty and we can reduce hunger. We can achieve good health and well-being. How it is? It is through based on EE and CC ways of management, method of management. If you are adopting environmental efficiency and carrying capacity way of urban management or city management, we can achieve sustainable cities where all other goals can be achieved simultaneously. It is a comprehensive goal. All other ones are sectoral goals, and this is the only goal which is comprehensive one. So I am eyeing on this sustainable city concept, and through that we can achieve world prosperity and we can achieve a sustainable earth. And the move the date concept, #move the date, which are formulated by Global Footprint Network, is in tie-up with the Earth Overshoot Day. Some tie-ups are there based on UK and WWF, and they are all together doing. They are made some solutions in order to make you understand how we can move the date. That means move the date further so that it should reach towards December. And it is on 5 sectors like planet, cities, energy, food, and population. And now coming back to what Center for Environmental Efficiency have done their research in connection with the Global Footprint Network and biocapacity and ecological footprint. And I will be explaining how I have partnered. Conceptually, even though a physical partnership, there is no physical partnership, but conceptually, I have taken the researches done by UNDP as well as Global Footprint Network. That means these two things, biocapacity and ecological footprint, I have taken from, that means global footprints calculations, and I have taken human development indicators of UNDP. And these are the 3 constituent terms or constituent ideas which I have used to formulate this environmental efficiency and carrying capacity theory. And it is relevant because what all this thing, COVID pandemic, they are telling that 3 weeks delay or 22 days delay has occurred because of the COVID pandemic. The people are sitting inside the house and without doing anything and conserving or that is postponing our overshoot day. That does not have any meaning. Human existence and human welfare should be ensured in order to have a sustainable earth. Without giving importance to humans, nothing is practicable, and it is not correct also. Human prosperity and convenience and their happiness is required, otherwise it is not sustainable. So that is the reason I have taken the human development and the most in the numerator. And this is the concept. The people who have attended earlier session, they might have seen this video. This is formulated by, that means by giving ideas, formulated by one architect intern. And she's based Bangalore. I forgot her name. And she has developed this. That means Earth will be happy when both humans as well as the ecological footprint is less, so that humans are happy. Humans has happy with the ecological footprint because Earth's capacity is only limited and it cannot increase. It cannot, in fact, it is reducing because of the human intervention. So ecological footprint is reduced and human development is increased. That kind of condition, Earth will be happy. Otherwise, Earth will be very sad. And nowadays, Earth is very sad. That is the reason Earth is creating so much of problems because of the natural disasters and so many things, because Earth cannot sustain these kind of activities. That means high ecological footprint, and humans are also unhappy in this case. When the Earth is unhappy or humans are unhappy, Earth is also unhappy. It is crying. And this is the environmental efficiency theory depicted as a tree. That means human development, consumption and capacity. That is tree bottom. That is the bottom is biocapacity, and the arrow is the consumption, and human development is on the top. That is the products. And the constituent components are life expectancy at birth. It is indicative of health. Then DNA per capita, it is indicative of economics. That means money, income. And when these two factors, mean years of schooling and expected years of schooling, it indicates education. These three things are included in that human development concept. And in fact, E and CC coins, this is the real concept. Once we are attaining E, CC will automatically be attained. It is like two sides of a coin. So we have to concentrate on attaining environmental efficiency. Naturally, carrying capacity will be developed. And this environmental efficiency theory has global to local application. It is not that between nations, between states, between districts and between cities, we can calculate this environmental efficiency, and at a personal level also. And these are the calculations done for the environmental efficiency and carrying capacity. And see, I told you, Georgia was showing a very good figure. So that at that time, that when I calculated it, is Georgia's environmental efficiency 5.63. But India's environmental efficiency is quite high because of its low ecological footprint. And India has attained a lot in human development in sphere with least resources, so that India's environmental efficiency is quite high. India has to project their ranking and in front of the international community that we are attaining this much of efficiency with respect to our consumption. And while the other very high boasting countries, they are having low environmental efficiency. Their achievements with respect to capacity is quite low. Australia 1.06, USA 1.28, like that. Then Brazil 2.47. So India is having high environmental efficiency from time immemorial itself. I calculated this based on my 2008-9, based on the database of 2005. No, it is based on 2030. So this is the trend. India has having very high environmental efficiency. And this is a further modification of the environmental efficiency theory. This is improvisation of environmental efficiency theory, because UNDP till 2010, they have not accounted the inequality dimension in the human development calculations. In 2010, they have introduced inequality dimension also, so that this environmental efficiency is further improvised as inequality adjusted environmental efficiency. And in order to identify it in a separate way, that means it is different from what I have done in my thesis dissertation. It is simply environmental efficiency. And I just wanted to give a different name, so that I have given the value, May value, that is for the TED presentation, which was conducted in 2017. And this is the environmental efficiency along with inequality dimension is incorporated in this May value consideration. And later I thought, I just reviewed whether I should stick on to this name. Then I thought the word May has got a very good meaning, just like this is our wish, our prayer, and our hope. That is the meaning. So let it be there, because it's a very simple name. Anybody can remember it. Anybody can. It is a very familiar name. The month of May is there, and also May is used in many English language. It's a word. So that May is a very, very common name, common word. So that I stick on to this May value. So in this May value calculation, health, education, income, GNI per capita, ecological footprint, inequality, all these things are considered. That means May value, or IE, inequality adjusted environmental efficiency, is IHDI by EFP. That means inequality adjusted human development index, because in 2010 only they have introduced United Nations IHD by II by EFP. And these are the improvisation of E and C series, May value and tone value, which I have formulated for the TED presentation. I thought I will share this here also. This is IHD by EFP. What is the concept is that this is the input, ecological footprint is the input, and we want inequality adjusted human development. That should be the output. And the constituent components of IHDI are wellness, skill development, income, and equity. That means whatever achievements are weighing, it should be achievements are made at city level or any system. We have to share it to the people in a justifiable way. The exploitation is not justified. Over exploitation of nature as well as over exploitation of the people are not sustainable. So we have to have intra-generational sustainability. So May value, or this inequality adjusted environmental efficiency, is a right indicator of intra-generational sustainability. And while this tone value is intergenerational sustainability, that means between the generation. If the tone value is negative, that means it is not advisable. Tone value should be positive, so that our children also should be able to enjoy nature and Earth's biocapacity. Otherwise, there will be terrible things are going to happen for our generations. And free air, free water, all these things they were getting, it all will be stopped, and they will be suffering with the diseases, and they will not be having, there will be air pollution, they will not having good water to drink, and they will have so many problems. So we have to conserve our resources for the future. So tone value should be positive. And human development and E and CC scenario, that means I have done some calculations for some countries, 2013 and 2019 scenario. And Georgia, 0.74, India 0.59, so Japan 0.89. So that some figures are there for that. For the world, it is 0.7 in 2013. That means HDI. And IHDI is again 0.54. That means inequality dimension. Because of the inequality, there are some losses to the human development. So they have quantified as percentage. That percentage of human development is reduced from the HDI, so that IHDI is obtained. And based on that, E and CC, we have calculated That means in this calculation only E and CC, not the inequality adjustment is not in the calculation. So E and CC are calculated for the year 2013. It is coming as 2.5 and 0.65. That means the carrying capacity is below 1. That means it is not sufficient. That means the ecological overshooting is there. It should be at least 1. And when it come to, that means 2019 scenario, it is environmental efficiency has increased. So it is a very good sign. So human development achievements with respect to ecological footprint has increased, while this CC has reduced. CC has further reduced. So that is a terrible situation. It should be nearer to 1. And where is India's position? 2019 scenario, HDI versus IHDI of UNDP, HDI, IHDI and its subcomponents. I'm taking only the UNDP calculations. And for HDI, life expectancy, indicative of health, life expectancy at birth, expected years of schooling and mean years of schooling as indicative of education, and DNA per capita indicative of income. And these are the constant components, and we are getting, for developed countries, it is 0.898. That is the average for the world. That is, for developed countries, it is 0.89, while for the world average, it is 0.373. And for India, it is 0.64. And the least developed countries, it is 0.53. That means India's human development is slightly nearer to least development countries. We could not achieve much human development because at this point, the gap is more with respect to world, and India could not achieve the human development as sort of an average world citizen. So that is the indication. And again, we are calculating the IHDI, inequality adjusted human development. It is further reduced. India's human development is reduced by so much of percentage. That means 26.4% losses are there, so that it is reduced to again 0.475. While for the world, it is only 20.4. For the developed countries, it is only the inequality percentage losses are only 10.9. So the country status increase, that means human development increase, level increases, inequality dimension is diminishing. So in order to achieve India a better place to live, we have to concentrate on inequality. So where is India's position? That means with respect to HT and IHTs, India's inequality is very high, and it is nearer to least developed countries. So these are the things India should address in order to achieve right way of human development. So HTA versus inequality, some graphs are telling that I already told you, as the human development increases, inequality reduces. And also income variation. This is a bar chart for income variation. That means per capita income is very, very high compared to the world average or India's or least developed countries. So that some of the countries are grabbing most of the world's resources and world's income. That is a real imbalance for the world, which is to be addressed. Again, in 2019 scenario, I have calculated all these HDI, IHDI, then BC, then E, CC, pay value, tone value, all these things are calculated. And for the world, it is 0.737, while IHD has reduced due to inequality. Again, all these values are there. So that is the trend compared to India compared to rest of the country. India's overshoot day is not calculated by Global Food Network. Probable reasons: India's development characteristics are nearer to least developed countries, and figures which are below world average. India's environmental efficiency is very high compared to the world average, so that they cannot tell India to consume less, because we are consuming very less, and with respect to our development. And also, India is biocapacity deficient. India should address to improve the biocapacity by dedicated ecosystem conservation. That means our ecosystems and biologically productive areas are to be conserved in a most scientific, it should be preserved, or conservation efforts are to be made in a most efficient manner. As I told you, India's overshoot day is May 1st. And India cannot be called, even though some items, some reports are there, India is a role model, but India cannot be called a role model country as its HD achievements are below world average. So we have to increase our HD. By streamlining our consumption, we have to go towards human development. That is not extravagant spending. Why India should, what is the stand to be taken by India? Because India should take a very strong stand as far as global warming is concerned. It's Indian Ocean, because what all earlier and all, some of the scientific reports are there. Pacific Ocean is heating up and the problems are going to occur. But now, as per the latest study, they are telling India is the worst place which will be affected, because Indian Ocean, because of the ocean currents, El Niños, and all those things, surface height anomalies, everything. India is the worstly affected place because of the global warming, and we are getting some signs of, because the Kerala coast is very near to Indian Ocean, so that we are getting very signs of it, just telling that our cloud pattern has changed, cloud intensity has been, flood has occurred just because of the totally man-made. It is natural also. That's what the report says. So Kerala will be the worst affected region if the global warming issues are not addressed properly. And also second one is India altogether, because it is all surrounded by India's peninsula is surrounded by Indian Ocean and its nearby Gulf regions. That means Arabian region, and also that India should be very serious about making, that is, international community to coming to global partnerships to reduce global consumption, to reduce ecological footprint, so and also increase the biocapacity, so that some negative effects of all these things are coming to India. India should be very catalytic approach India should take, and Indian peninsula itself should take these kind of scientific approaches like E and CC theories, and they should attain there. They should show to the world how environment efficiency and carrying capacity will be useful for rightful environmental management, and India should take the leading role in inculcating, or that is facilitating other countries to work seriously for the cause of global warming. Biocapacity trading in lieu of human development based on E and CC theory. That is a strategy which can be applied from global level to local level. Between nations, we can apply, and between countries, and that means nations between countries, and also between states in a country, between cities in a country, and also between people. That means at the individual level also we can practice biocapacity trading in lieu of human development. That means if you are helping the person everybody has got some biocapacity rights. That means a global average. That means 1.6 Earth global hectares. That is every person in this earth have that right. So if we are consuming, we have to borrow some biocapacity rights from the person who has not achieved human development, so that we will be giving in terms of human development, either in terms of money or in terms of education or in terms of health regainment and rightful, that means activities, value-based activities, we have to give them and share their resources. If I am sharing, I am taking a very underdeveloped or very sharing with, I am making a deal that I have got this much of money or this much of human development with me, and you have got this much of biocapacity. I am exceeding my ecological footprint is exceeding my biocapacity rights, and the other person is not exceeding, and we has not attained that much human development also, so that his rights in a very conceptual way, we will just think it at our mind. I'll be sharing to this person this much of, I will enable this person this much of human development, and I will be giving money or I'll be giving education, I will be giving good health standards, facilitating good health standards, so that their human development levels are increased. And in a most justifiable manner, I will take the average of my biocapacity as well as his my ecological footprint and his ecological footprint, so that my environmental efficiency, both of us together, environmental efficiency is in a very good, having a good figure. So that means the individual level, and also business establishments and local bodies, between local bodies, we can include. So how in the international level we can adopt this biocapacity trading in view of human development? That is the last, that means a few more slides are there. This is a real interesting, and it's in fact an innovation. Based on when I started making presentations, I thought I will take this graph which I made for my thesis, and this is a 2008-9 data. And this is, I have made a scatter diagram with HDI in the x-axis and EFPA in the y-axis. So this I directly taken from my thesis, and this graph. And this is the general trend, HDI versus ecological footprint versus human development index of the world nations. And this is the general trend. This is a curvilinear in pattern. There's a horizontal portion here. There's a slanting portion here, and there's a vertical portion here. So, and this biocapacity, these calculations I have again bifurcated into low HDA countries, medium HDA countries, and high HDA countries. And we can see that if you are microscopically examining, we can see that there are, see the slides, there is a red zone, this is a gray zone, as well as green zone. Red zones, we'll see, this is the meaning is that, see, certain level, it is going horizontal. That means they are not achieving, going horizontal. That means they are attaining without much ecological footprint, they are remaining like that. So again, green zone, they are going, ecological footprint is increasing. And finally, at some level, this ecological footprint, this graph is going vertical. That means not much of human development increase. It's going vertical. So I have divided into three zones, like red zone, gray zone, and green zone. And what I suggest is biocapacity should be traded between these red zones are the highly developed countries where their environmental efficiency is quite low. And these gray things are like that, their biocapacity is quite high. So these countries should give biocapacity to these red zone countries, and they have to take human development. And red zone countries and should be in a condition to transfer, that is, share their human development achievements, and they should enable the least developed countries, and considering their biocapacity rights which they have got by birth. In African countries, their biocapacity rights are quite high. They are taking very low ecological footprint. So considering one red zone country and one gray zone country, if you are biocapacity trading between human development and biocapacity trading is taking place, both the countries will attain environmental efficiency and carrying capacity, and they will enter in the green zone because their achievements and resources will be shared. So finally, what happened? It will enter the green zone. This will look like these countries' figures, spots will be becoming this like a circular one, so that the human development will be between 0.6 and 1, and also ecological footprint will be something like 0.1 and 0.6, so that in a very justifiable way we are attaining the world can reform its activities in a better sustainable way. And sometimes it might be known as circular economy. That's what I feel, because this is having this is said to be researched. Then I thought that when I got in a circular pattern, I thought this might be sometimes circular economy, because of using this circular economy theory only we can attain, and also through sharing and caring between biocapacity rich nations and human development high nations. Future sustainable Earth scenario is what I have explained. The curvilinear scatter diagram turns to circular one in green zone with high E and CC nearer to or more than 1. CC more than 1. E should be very high. CC should be more than 1 so that Earth is contained. So that is a strategy we can apply. And sometimes when we are presenting this to international community, they may not agree to this because they are not willing to share their achievements, human development achievements to the least developed countries. But so that means there is an imbalance in the society, intragenerational imbalance, also intergenerational, we can say on a later stage only. Intragenerational imbalance is there that is to be addressed. Then only world will move in the sustainable way. Otherwise, world will be going in the negative direction, and we may end up with a tragedy. And the COVID situation, it is a harbinger, it's a warning only. And if we are not listening to it, or developed countries and the least developed countries' issues are not addressed by developed countries because they are grabbing the biocapacity rights of the least developed countries, so that in an ethical manner they should share these two, so that they should enter in green zone. India is a role model, but India can, with using E and CC theory, their human development profile can be increased if they are using E and CC theory for the betterment of the nation. Again, sustainable development goals, once more I have included. I have already explained it because it's a comprehensive goal which includes all other goals. See, SDG 11 is a comprehensive SDG, and presently every other person on the earth, more than every other person on the earth, that is more than 50% of the world population are living in a city. Cities are the hope. To attain a sustainable earth, cities are the hope because the people are, more than 50% of the people are living in a city. If cities are managed efficiently, and we can attain a lot, that's what. And by the projections by 2030, it is attaining 60%. That is 60% of the population will be living in a city, and by 2050, it will be 70%. That's what the United Nations projections tells. But I say that it should be accelerated, that in order to attain a sustainable city scenario, sustainable earth scenario, we have to concentrate on this comprehensive goal so that all other goals will be attained altogether, and we can move in a very, very nice way, and we can achieve a better world. World urbanization to be accelerated, and environmental efficiency to be attained city-based, so that regions will be free to enhance biological capacity. Because so many people, they should be accommodated in a very less area in a planned way, so that because of the nearness and economies of scale, economy will be generated. Because there is a local, if you are working towards global warming, there is a global benefit, local benefit also, because we are attaining economy because of the economies of scale and nearness. And while we are leaving the other places, that's ecologically resource regions, we are remaining untouched, so that their biocapacity will be increased. That can be achieved in a Kerala-like situation. It can be achieved by biocapacity trading, by not biocapacity, transfer of development rights from the agricultural areas to the city centers, where there is an ample vacant spaces inside the city. That means for Cochin city itself, because of the NRI investments, there are a lot of vacant spaces are there, vacant plots are there. If we are giving the development rights, very high FAR, of course we can give, but only with agricultural TDR. If you are simply giving a high FAR, it is not justified. Because if you are giving agricultural TDR, the people living in the rural areas, they will also be benefited. They will be getting the economy benefit. At the same time, ecosystems will be protected. And if the cities are not done properly, it will end up in chaos and miseries and less prosperity, and hell of a lot of problems are going to take place if the humanity or mankind is not taking this seriously. This is the SDG 11, the mother SDG GIF animation prepared by one of my interns. That means, in fact, it was CE volunteer service done by architect Shenas. Her name is from Trichur Engineering College. She's an architect planner and she was doing voluntary service for CE. And she made this. That's out of 17 goals. The Earth is, that means SDG 11 is put at the center, sustainable cities and communities, and all other 16 goals are all around. And since this is a comprehensive goal, all other 16 goals can be attained if we are concentrating on sustainable cities. And this is a mantra. That means E and CC are the mantra. If not me, that means one day or the world has to accept this if we are proceeding with in order to contain the global warming scenario. E and CC theory has to be accepted. It may be in some other name, maybe by some other country, but this is the truth, and this is the only way we can attain prosperity and sustainability. Thank you for all your presence, that for your patient listening. And I'm so happy that at least we are patient enough to listen to what I have formulated in my presentation.
Yeah, that was really an informative session, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the valuable information you have shared. Actually, your studies, your depth of knowledge, your ability to present the subject in such an interesting manner, we produced such a valuable session. Since we are entering into such a tragic situation, as you explained, your session and comments are too precious. So thank you again for the contribution. And I would like to thank Jayashree ma'am, also retired from Town Planning Department, who also contributed service for GCDA and who played a major important role in the translation process of the study. I request Jayashree ma'am to talk a few words.
First of all, I congratulate Dr. May Matthew for starting a knowledge sharing session under CE. And in fact, the first session itself was interesting one, and it clearly presented the Earth Overshoot Day concept nicely through illustrations also. Environmental efficiency, carrying capacity, and sustainable development are also clearly presented through the presentations. Thank you, Dr. May Matthew, for your good acknowledgements for me. And I understand that CE is doing many efforts to make awareness for a better environment and sustainable development, all for a better Earth. And I am very happy to be a part of your works in this way. Humans are overutilizing the available resources, and the Earth Overshoot Day reminds us this. Though the pandemic has induced a lot of negative impacts on human beings, we can see that it did some positive things to the environment and thus to the Earth. This points out the fact that the nature will definitely interfere when it is overexploited. Being a living organism on Earth, I also like to extend my small efforts to make a better Earth. Hence, thank you once again for giving me an opportunity in your works, and let us move the day together for a better Earth. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really so thankful words. As said by all other speakers and the sessions, we can come to the conclusion. The safety of the mother planet Earth is in our hands. So we should take the right step at the right moment to save the Mother Earth from the foolish activities of the mankind. As the secular prayer says, all living organisms have a role to play. All have an indispensable role to sustain this planet and mankind. We should attain the rightful personalities. All should be respected and protected. We all should be united to lift this planet and mankind towards a sustainable world of today and tomorrow. I am because we are. A strong message for all generations. Let us also always have this attitude and spread happiness wherever we go. So here we are winding up the session by the Patti Smith inspiring song. It is such an energy-giving song which summarizes that the people have the power to redeem this world from the foolish activities of the mankind. Here it goes. I was dreaming in my dreaming of an aspect bright and fair, and my sleeping it was broken. But my dream it lingered near in the form of shining valleys, where the pure air recognized, and my senses newly opened. I awakened to the cry that the people have the power to redeem the work of fools. Upon the meek the grace is shower. It's decree the people rule.
I will play that song, which is included in my website. That is as an inspiring song. But whenever I hear that song, I get inspired because people have the power. Systems may not be having the power, but people have the power. Once the people have the power, and if all the people are making an effort, the systems will change and the trends will change, and we can attain a better world together. So I will just play a 2 stanza of the song by Patti Smith, Miss Madam Patti Smith, which is included in my website.
I was dreaming in my dreaming, well, of an aspect bright and fair, and my sleeping it was broken, but my dream it lingered near in the farm of shining valleys, where the pure air rarefied, and my senses are newly opened. I will awaken into the cry that the people have the power to redeem the work of fools. Upon the meek the grace is showered. It's decree the people rule.
Thank you all
Believe
who
it.
have attended this session, and I'm so happy. And there were some problems in between because of the connectivity and the lack of knowledge, actually, because of the Zoom session. We are learning and learning by doing, because without doing, we cannot learn it. So there were problems in between, but we will again meet. I'm so happy that all of you joined this session. And thank you, Sandra, Maithili ma'am, and also all the people who are presented. I'm so happy. And we will wind up the session and we will call it a day. Thank you.
May, it was a nice informative session.
Yeah, madam, when I prepared it, I got some more insights because of that graph now, reds on,
Yeah.
greens on, ash on, that things and all, it's all came just like that. So it was, I never knew that. Just like that, I thought I'll take this graph. Then I'm working on it. I got the idea. We will divide it into 3. And I am also very happy that I
Yeah.
present.
A very nice presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
We
you.
have to do
Informative.
some methodologies. We'll do more studies, I think, based on this.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of things. It has got a lot of applications. It's like an umbrella. So that, yeah,
And
that's
the
why
government level also, we'll have some
I'm
information.
trying to get connected with the Niti Aayog. I thought after this presentation, I will, with this video, I don't know whether how this video will come, because so much of interruptions are there. So that
Actually, in corporation, some sessions are going on in sustainable development. Somebody
that
from
means
side.
that means what's it called? Mohammadabad based SAS. No, what is it called?
Something like that from German company.
No,
One yeah,
SEPT,
I-
SEPT. GIS.
along with that,
Yeah.
along with, but somebody from Germany is coming,
Yeah.
and C-head is there.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
They want to promote it as a very model, something like that, because for the World Economic Forum, World Urban Forum in Abu Dhabi last year, we see GIS has taken a lot of people from Seahead, and they want to show this, that it is corporations, under the aegis of corporation, there is something going on, even though there is not much, many experts or town planners are not there. Still, they are promoting it a lot, and CEPT is giving enough. That is enough advice how to proceed. So that is why it is going on.
Yeah, I read somewhere. Okay, bye.
My sister, my brother-in-law, brothers, all are there. So that I'm so happy to meet all of them. My sister Sumana, my brother Paul, and my brother-in-law Syria Kurian, all of them are present, and their voice is mute. They are all mute, but they are listening all this session. They are also encouraging me and promoting me. And I'm so happy about it. I have to acknowledge their presence also. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Sandra, bye. See you. Bonnie is not listening.
Bye, Madam Rajesh.
Rajesh, bye. Thank you, Jayashree.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, dear.
Thanks.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, madam. Happy to see you.
Yeah, me too. Nice. We can meet like this.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a social interaction also. We will be meeting in
This
between. That's also.
first session.
Yeah.
We'll give the presentation to some for the local bodies.
Yeah.
Make it a bit short.
Madam, someone has to recommend. Otherwise, there is a limit for self-propagation. So I cannot go and tell them I have got so and so thing. It will be useful and all. They will be simply.
Why not publish this?
Yeah, I can publish in one of the journals.
Yeah.
That is there.
Even our town planning journal, we can do that.
Yeah, that can be done. After getting this graphs only, I got the idea that, oh, this is the idea. This is the way it should be presented. So now I can publish it. I can think of publishing it.
And now you said that we have inequality is very high in India.
Yeah.
So, we'll have some concrete suggestions,
policies,
do things based on your study.
Yeah.
And then we'll present that. Because the technical things, it's a little lengthy, people, they not understand, no patience to listen to all that. Even myself, I forget them. Difficult to comprehend,
Yeah.
Then you can get the salient features of all the study that you have done, and then make short presentation and even, give it in the journals and all that.
In December, I'll be getting a chance as a key speaker for an event conducted by School of Planning and Architecture.
Yeah, where?
It's like
Delhi.
It is online.
Online.
And, so I'll be again try to expand it at the metropolitan area level. This concept.
Yeah.
So that I'll
give
be
more stress on that, no? So that number 17 about cities, a goal 11. Yeah.
11.
Pressing more on goal 11.
Yeah.
Can make it smaller percentage. But it was for us, for the first hand knowledge, it was very good, very informative. Really congratulate you.
Thank you so much, madam. And all of us will work together because
we'll work together. Yeah.
I myself can't do. A single person can't do. Now nothing is effective. We have to move together. Then only there will be, because it is for a better world. It is not for me, because it's not me. After all, it is what is there? I think few more years we may have to live, but Earth should sustain, and the generation should sustain. Our people should not curse us. That is, our previous generation had spoiled the entire Earth, and we are suffering. So I think this is a godly activities. because I feel it is because more than charity, but it's giving some money to a person. It's because there is no end point. I'm the receiving end. There is nobody, So receiving end for the whole people, whole world. But I am satisfied. The satisfaction is my reward. I'm doing that.
Sure.
So we will work together, madam.
We'll have more interactive things. What we were thinking about all this. Maybe
Yes.
somebody, because we'll ask each one what they think of all this, and
we can do some brainstorming session under the aegis of this thing. It's smart cities. Actually, this is contributing to smart cities, but I feel there has to be somebody to introduce me. It is not easy that a person going there and telling self that this and that and this, I can do this and that. So that's a limit for self-propagation. So if somebody recommends me, or we can think of something like Niti Aayog level, or what's it, smart cities, things are looked after by some NUA, National Urban,
I'm not sure.
some agency like that. So they can brainstorm on this, and we can come out with the concrete proposals with the refinement. We can give input ideas so that someone, because if we are sitting together, much we can attain. It's not that this is what I can do is there is a limit for individual level. So let somebody, when I get a chance in December, I'll be speaking to, it's an international conference. So that I'll be getting a chance, no? So when I present it, somebody will be interested to implement it or know further about it. Let's see what can we do. So it's a slow and steady process. It's not that tomorrow.
We have to get into the attention of the government, some concept it is acceptable. We'll have to do something at the government level also. Of course,
but our
welfare level we can all do. We can all decide, to do our part. But on the to have larger effect, we have to get into the governmental level also.
Someone has to encourage. If the governmental people are short-sighted because of the election, they don't recommend anything more than 5 years. So they want to get immediate results. That is our political system. So this is long term. So this is to be approved by some international agencies or at national level agencies, so that it will be coming to the implementation level. So I have got, because I'm just sticking on this concept, because when day in and day out, I'm getting lot of ideas based on these theories. It is an umbrella theory, and based on this, I'm getting a lot of ideas. So that if I think if we are after some time, with some people are more to join, because if I get some funding for my NGO, then I can put some scientists, some scientific people, urban planners and architects and civil engineers, and also economic people, economic people, and we can all together. We can brainstorm and bring out with very good results. All our energy should be pulled together. Then only it will be effective.
Somebody should keep reminding also, because we people have some problems, our own domestic problems, and suddenly we get lose touch of all this.
Now, through this presentation itself, for the last 1 week, I was putting a lot of effort. Once you commit to something,
you are the one who's presenting, so you have to do. You are doing a lot of work, but others, we don't think much of all this, because we'll be doing on our affairs. Then suddenly you say there is a session like this, then we think for some time, then we forget. Things happen like that. So some reminders of what we'll have some newsletter.
There are two formalities like 12A and 80G, and both the things I have filed now. Once I get 12A and 80G approval from the income tax department, then I am eligible for CSR. Then CSR people actually, they are looking for some good ideas to develop, to sponsor. That means some HCL Foundation or some other, so many foundations are there. They are ready to, they have got plenty of money with them. So leave apart all the international money, even national level itself, we have got a lot of CSR funds. So if we get something like that, no, we can think of expanding these ideas so that will be welcomed by the world community.
Yeah.
So in strictly this biocapacity trading may not happen, but even carbon trading did not happen in a very, very full-fledged way. Like that, some countries, they can just trade the biocapacity and they can boast of themselves that we are not overshooting. We are contained within our resources. That kind of self-prestige should be developed.
Yeah.
That is a concept. Some countries, they may come forward. That is, we are not consuming, we are not over-consuming. We are within our resources and we are trading the biocapacity of some countries so that we are giving all help, financial help, as well as educational and human development help we are giving in order to raise the standard of living of those people. So, and they can boast of themselves that we are doing in the right way. In one country does, other countries also follow. That's, Okay, thank you so much, Madam. Once more.
Thank you. Thank you, May.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.